there are 5 secrets only pro miners know. Hey, I'm Dusty Star, and I must confess I'm no miner. If you saw my Golem video, you know I've got a soft spot for that ship. When the Patreon crew picked the Prospector for this next factory service manual, I figured the Golem would walk away with the win. No contest. But I knew if we were gonna give this one a fair shot, I'd need help. So I called up someone who actually knows how to mine. RedMonsterSC. Met him back at Quantum Vegas, sharp guy with real ship builds, and he agreed to help us get this one right.
Hi Dusty, and thank you to the Thrusters and Dust community for picking the Prospector. I'm RedMonsterSC, and I do quite a lot of mining.
This one's been around for a while. Released back in 2924, the Prospector opened the door for solo mining. Retractable laser, modular ore pods, great cockpit, and compact living quarters. But zero cargo bay, and not a whole lot of love from CIG since then. They say she's the backbone of the mining community, battle-tested, dependable, beloved. But we just wrapped up the factory service manual on the Golem, and that ship made me curious. Same ore capacity, smaller frame, way faster in atmo, and it comes with a bespoke Pitman mining head out of the box, tuned tighter than the Helix with better range and more control. It's got the same 2 gadget slots, but it adds more stability and a higher optimal charge rate. More importantly, it makes Drake's purpose-built design look like the smarter call. And when you factor in a lighter mass, tighter maneuvering, and lower costs, I had to ask, why are miners still loyal to the Prospector? Maybe it's the legacy, maybe it's the shape of the cockpit glass, or maybe there's something real here I just haven't seen yet. We're gonna test this ship the only way I know how, one part at a time, out in the field. First up, the mining laser. Fixed mount centerline, no gimbal here, so your aim better be true. 2 size 1 hard points. You're not picking a fight with this loadout, but sometimes just returning fire is enough to get clear. Entry's a ladder style hatch, typical MISC. Step in, seal up, standard MISC pressure lock, tight and reliable. Here's what the whole ship revolves around, those modular ore pods. 4 of them, snap in, snap out. All your key systems are sealed inside the hull, but nothing's physicalized. No gold standard here. Inside you've got a bed and a tiny bathroom, but that's it. There's a storage panel on the interior wall, but I couldn't open it. There's no cargo grid, no place to stash gear, drinks, food, nothing. I even looked for the power plant access and came up empty. If you know where they hid it, let me know. I'll owe you a beer. This little panel sparked more debate than a Drake safety briefing. Some folks say it was meant for dumping inert materials, others say hand mine storage, or even power plant access. But near as I can tell, it don't do a damn thing today. Maybe it's a ghost from an abandoned feature, or maybe it's waiting for a comeback. Either way, if you know what it's for, drop me a comment. The Prospector is built for the job, sure, but when it comes to upgrades, what actually makes sense out in the field? I had questions, so I called in Red Monster. He's run just about every mining setup you can think of. Here's what he recommends.
The Prospector stock loadout is enough to do the job, although I usually switch the Quantum Drive out for the Expedition for its extended range, or the VK00 for shorter transit times. You can also swap around for stealth components to reduce your chances of being spotted, although if you're worried about detection, you can always choose more remote locations to mine. For recommended laser loadouts, there are 2 that I use on a regular basis. I'll start with the balanced build, consisting of a Hofstede laser and a surge module. The Hofstede provides a big optimal charge window bonus as well as a resistance reduction, with one of the lowest minimum power settings to make smaller rocks even more manageable. While it's not the most powerful, the surge module helps overcome that by providing a short-term 50% power increase that's crucial for those tough first breaks. The balanced loadout is great for solo mining when you don't mind leaving behind some of the largest rocks, and it also comes in handy when you're working in a group and someone needs an emotional support laser for a little extra push. Next is the high power build, using a Helix laser with a Focus 3 and a surge module. The Helix is the highest power laser on the market, but it has a steep penalty to the optimal charge window size that can make it very difficult to work with. The Focus 3 offsets some of that penalty, and the surge module again helps you boost your power even further, but only when you need it. The downside with the Helix is its higher minimum power of nearly 30%, which can make smaller rocks and secondary breaks very tricky. You'll need to use some distance to reduce the effective laser power, or pulse the power on and off to avoid overcharging smaller rocks. One final upgrade for the Prospector that I absolutely recommend is to replace the default MISC ore pods with a set of Argo ore pods that will bump your storage capacity from 32 to 48 SCU, making each trip 50% more profitable.
Red's advice checks out, so we'll start by swapping the stock quantum drive for the Expedition, more range and fewer fuel stops. Then we'll move on to the rest. Alright, let's talk stealth. First up, power plant. We run the Cirrus. Stealth Grade C keeps you off the radar without starving your ship. Quantum Drive, that's the Zephyr. Fast spool, low signature, gets you out quick without lighting up the sky. Now Shields, Palisades, big, tough, industrial grade A. They ain't stealthy, they run hot and loud. So if you're flying quiet, keep them turned off until you need them. Coolers, Icebox Stealth Bs. They run quiet and keep your signature low, perfect for when you don't want to be found. But I'll tell you something else. If you're out here flying deep on a quiet moon, you might not need stealth at all. That's secret number 1. Skip the sneak. Pros don't waste credits on stealth components. They just fly smarter, pick remote belts, quiet rocks, and stay off folk scanners the old-fashioned way. Save those credits for gear that makes you money. Now this next one, Red Monster swears by it. And once you do the math, it's tough to go back. Swap out those stock MISC ore pods for a set of Argo saddlebags. And here's the gain. Now you're hauling 48 SCU instead of 32. That's secret number 2. Pod swap payday. More ore per trip, more credits at the end of the run. Red Monster calls this the balanced build, and I can see why. The Hofstede gives you a wide optimal window for smooth control, especially on those mid-sized rocks. And that surge module, it kicks in with a burst of power to push through that first tough break before you settle into a steady burn. With the upgrades in place, it's time to find the right spot to put them to work. Where would Red Monster send a Prospector for the best odds and the cleanest pulls? Let's call him.
With your ship loadout complete, now it's time to get out there and start mining, but there are a lot of options. A few of my favorite locations for Prospector mining are Selen and Calliope in the Stanton system, and Bloom or Terminus in the Pyro system. Each location offers a good mix of low-density base minerals that will give you the best chances at success when you're out there running solo.
Selen it is. We'll start with the balance build. Red Monster swears by it for solo work, especially if you're not chasing the biggest rocks in the belt. Let's see if this Hofstede and Surge combo really gives us control or just gives us trouble. We kicked off with a jump to a quantum marker on the daylight side of Selen. Not to land, just to break atmo and get eyes on the terrain. But instead of flying towards the marker, I banked away, heading out to where there's less traffic, fewer signatures, and a whole lot less chance of being found. I'm keeping Crusader dead ahead while I scan. That way, I'm always moving forward, not doubling back over the same ground. I was heading out, minding my own scan, when I caught laser fire out of the corner of my eye. Red contact, small origin ship, 100 series. He was already heating up the sky. I locked on and returned fire. Hit his shields, but he was fast, slippery, and hard to track. I spun around and caught sight of him again. Then out of nowhere, laser fire pouring in from behind me, ripping into him. He explodes. And that's when I saw it, a Scorpius coming in hot right over my canopy. Don't know who that pilot was, but he saved my hide. Then again, maybe I was just the next name on their list. I didn't stick around to find out. Whatever that was, it wasn't part of the plan. But the rocks ain't gonna break themselves. First one, barrel and aluminum. Second, Terranite, but only 20%. Rest was junk. Third, more barrel, more aluminum. Ain't worth the time or the effort. I know it when I see it. I'm a rock snob. That's secret number 3, rock snob. Know your ores. Be picky about what you fill your hopper with. That's how you make these trips profitable. It's said impossible, but I've seen enough to know that just means try harder. I ran the surge once. Nothing. Full laser burn at 100%. Still nothing. Rock just sat there like I was tickling it. So I eased in past the optimal range, close enough to feel the heat coming off it. I fired the surge again, and this time that fracture bar started to rise. Right as it was about to pop, I backed off just a hair. No sense sitting in the blast zone. And just like that, one impossible rock cracked wide open. Switched over to extraction and pulled in every shard of it in one clean sweep. Pulled 17 SCU of raw baxilite, 4 SCU of titanium. Not bad for a rock that told me it couldn't be done. Guess sometimes the rock's just trying to scare you off. Red was right about the surge module. Without it, I'd still be sitting here barking at a boulder. That's secret number 4, mod magic. The real power ain't always in the head, it's in the modules. Pros don't just push raw power. They stack modules to control the charge, surge for a boost, focus for control, dial it in like a craftsman. A stock laser with the right modules will outwork a high-end head that's running naked. But now I want to know, what happens when you stop asking nice? Back in the hangar, I swapped out the gear for Red's high-power loadout. Helix 1 laser, Focus 3, and a surge. And I set a course for selling again, hoping to find a rock big enough to test this setup for real. This one caught my eye. Over 11,000 mass, 48% Bexilite, 41% titanium. Impossible? Maybe. But I figured I'd give it a go. I ramped up the laser to full. But the rock didn't flinch. So I fired the surge. Still nothing. Moved in closer, got aggressive with my range, and finally saw signs of stress. The rock started to crack. But the second the surge finished, the meter dipped. The laser was still cranked to 100, but she was cooling off. So I lit the surge again and pushed even closer. And that's when she jumped straight to overcharge. I killed the beam and pulled back fast. Too late. That rock didn't just break, it detonated right in my face. Rear pods took a hit, both showing red. I didn't know if they were busted or just bruised. Either way, I wasn't ready to head home yet. One of the chunks looked good. 54% Baxilite. Couldn't let that go. But it was too big for the scoop. I needed to break it again. I fired the helix, and bam! Overcharged again. Same mistake. Backed off. Tried to wait it out, but it didn't break. I floated in to check the charge level. Then it blew. No ore, nothing left. And that's secret number 5. The laser's not the problem, it's your distance. Back off, buddy. The helix isn't broken, you're just too close. Pro miners pulse or pull back to soften the output. Most folks never learn that. I learned it the hard way. 2 overcharged blast, gear damage, 0 yield. Next time, I'll take control over chaos. Or I'll just log off and pretend this never happened. Now this is what it looks like when you take mining seriously. 2 prospectors, 2 golems, Hornets flying escort, and leading the way, a Polaris, hauling ore, hauling crew, and keeping everybody safe. Golems burning in one side, prospectors taking the other. F7s flying past to keep the pirates honest. This ain't solo mining in the verse, this is a full-scale op. Down below, the real magic's happening. Empty ore pods coming off the racks, loaded onto the lift, shipped upstairs, ready for the next bird in. Touchdown, drop pods, reload, launch. 1 in, 1 out. Tight, clean, and fast, like a pit crew in the black. Full pods coming down starboard. Crew loads them fast, racks them tight. Every minute counts. Some landings aren't pretty, but that don't matter, long as the ore's on board. Drops pods, lifts off, keep the line moving. This ain't some dream, this is work. This is a team, and this is how you build a mining empire. The Drake Golem is where most folks start out. It's reliable, simple to run, and good enough to get your first hauls in. But once you've got some hours under your belt, you start looking to upgrade. But the MISC Prospector, that's the ship you move up to when you're ready to mine for real. The Golem locks you into one laser, but the Prospector, you choose the head, pick your modules, and dial in your build. And when you're out deep in the halo, the Prospector makes it livable. A bed to log out, a bathroom, a place to grab a drink, recharge, and keep rolling. The Golem's a good first pick, but the Prospector, that's not just a step up, it's a whole different game. And you're not just mining better, you're mining smarter. Take care of yourself out there. Around here, we slow down, look close, stick with the ship long enough to see what it's really made of. And the Prospector, she earned her place. Before we wrap up, big thanks to RedMonsterSC for teaming up on this one. If you're serious about mining, he's the one to follow. Links down below. Every ship we tear down comes with the tools to make it yours. The full color factory service manual, black and white schematics for your binder, and the salvager's tactical recovery sheet. Grab them in the description. I've got more manuals on the way, so if this kind of work speaks to you, make sure you're subscribed. I see these names and I feel it. This isn't just support, this is a crew, and I don't take that for granted. And if you're looking for a crew that runs deep, come find us. Thrusters and Dust runs organized mining and salvage ops, ship meetups, and real in-game work that's worth your time. New or seasoned, we've got a place for you. I'm Dusty Star, and my hangar's always open to you.